We grow up believing that the key to peace is more control, more certainty, more understanding. But what if the power you crave is found by letting go, not holding on? This is the surrender paradox you were never meant to discover. You clicked because you're tired of fighting for control, tired of thinking that peace only comes when you finally have it all figured out. Tonight, that belief falls away. This is the paradox. The more you let go, the more life quietly opens up. Most of us grow up believing that constant effort and overthinking are signs of strength. But chasing every answer, pushing for clarity, only leaves us tense, anxious, and further from the calm we crave. What if letting go isn't defeat, but the doorway to something deeper? This video is your invitation to trust the unknown, to see how surrender can feel like a soft landing rather than a loss. By the end, you'll understand how stepping back creates space for peace, and why freedom often begins where striving ends. Take a breath. There's real relief waiting just on the other side of letting go. Let's start with a truth as quiet as a heartbeat. Most of us are taught to grip tighter, to chase control like it's the last raft in a rising tide. We think that if we could just understand more, push harder, or predict further, we might finally feel safe inside our own lives. But the more we reach, the more the ground seems to shift beneath us. The tension grows, effort tightening into anxiety, questions multiplying instead of dissolving. Life becomes a maze where every corner hides another what if, and the search for certainty starts to feel like its own kind of trap. Even victories are brief, dissolving back into uncertainty as quickly as they came. Here's the spark. What if everything you've been taught about strength and safety is upside down? What if the freedom you crave isn't earned by outsmarting uncertainty, but by learning to let it flow through you, unclenched, unhurried? In the space where you stop demanding answers, you might discover a peace that was always waiting just beneath the surface. We grow up believing that life rewards those who try the hardest. The expectation is everywhere. Success belongs to those who never loosen their grip, who outthink every problem, who never stop searching for the next solution. Picture the overthinker, replaying conversations late into the night, analyzing every detail, clinging to each outcome like it's a lifeline. The more they press, the more the answers slip through their fingers, leaving only exhaustion in their wake. It's a cycle as old as memory, an endless, anxious dance around the fire of certainty. But here's the paradox hiding in plain sight. The moment you stop chasing, clarity often arrives on its own. By releasing the need to force solutions, you give life room to breathe, and in that gentle space, the answers you were hunting may quietly reveal themselves. Letting go, unexpectedly, becomes the hidden path to the insight you seek. Deep down, the real longing isn't for knowledge, but for peace, for that rare, quiet moment when the mind finally loosens its grip and the heart can rest. This is the true center of the paradox. What we truly seek isn't control, but the feeling of being safe, even in uncertainty. Imagine standing in a heavy fog on a silent morning. Instinct says to strain your eyes, to chase the horizon, and demand clarity. But each time you push harder, the fog grows thicker, the world more distant. Yet if you slow your breath, accept the limits of your vision, something shifts. The fog softens, the silence feels less empty, and you sense a path forming beneath your feet, step by gentle step. This is the heart of surrender. Peace is found not by conquering the unknown, but by learning to inhabit it without fear. The moment you trust the process, without demanding explanations, you reclaim your calm, and the world opens up in unexpected ways. This is the paradox in full bloom. The less you force, the more you receive. It's easy to think that every feeling, every doubt, every restless night must be solved and understood. We imagine that clarity will rescue us, that if only we could explain each shadow, we'd finally be free of them. But the more we interrogate ourselves, the more we shrink. Each attempt to map our contradictions becomes another way to fence ourselves in, labeling every mood, pinning down every passing thought, until life feels less like an adventure and more like a science project gone cold. We become watchers instead of participants, haunted by the need for a story behind every emotion. The truth is simpler and more liberating. You don't need to decode every shift within you. Growth isn't born from endless analysis, but from allowing yourself to simply be, unexplained and whole. When you stop treating yourself like a puzzle, you create the space for real healing and genuine experience. Sometimes, the bravest act is to just let yourself exist. There's wisdom in the ordinary, a quiet lesson in the small, unnoticed moments of daily life. Sitting in a chair, feeling its steady support. You don't demand to know how every beam or bolt is built. You trust its presence and let yourself rest. We often forget that life works much the same way. Instead of needing to grasp every reason, every hidden structure, we can let ourselves settle into what's here. The pressure to make sense of every experience fades, replaced by a gentle trust in what's holding us up. The tension in our shoulders begins to soften, and the breath returns to our body. Peace can be that simple, accepting that you're carried, even when you don't know every answer. The power you seek might be waiting right beneath you, steady and quiet, if only you allow yourself to sit with what is, without needing to analyze it all away. Sometimes, trust is more valuable than understanding. Beneath all our striving and analysis lies a hidden law, a paradox older than memory. What you cling to, you lose. What you surrender, you find. Life does not reward the most careful planner or the fiercest warrior, but those who can meet the unknown with open hands. This truth reveals itself in surprising ways. A sudden idea that appears when you've stopped searching. A solution rising in a moment of rest. The sense of relief that arrives only after you've let go. Like wind slipping through unclenched fingers, freedom rushes in the instant you stop trying to control it. The urge to command every detail is replaced by the deeper rhythm of trust. Here is the great reversal. Surrender is not weakness, but a doorway to transformation. It's the twist that reshapes your entire journey. The realization that, by loosening your grip, you awaken the very strength you've been seeking. The paradox is no longer a problem to be solved, but a path to walk. All the tension, every impulse to control, every habit of overthinking, gathers here, at the quiet edge of letting go. You've seen how striving multiplies confusion, how surrender dissolves the knot inside. Step back and witness the journey, the chase for certainty, the struggle for answers, and the slow, patient unfolding of peace as you loosen your grip. Like mist, rising from stone at dawn, the insights weave together, reminding you that life is not a riddle to be solved, but an experience to be lived. Trust grows not from knowing everything, but from returning to presence again and again. You now stand at a threshold, lighter and clearer. The paradox has become your ally. When you choose to let go of questions of control, of needing to always understand, you open to a freedom that cannot be taken, only received. Walk forward. The power and surrender is already yours. So here we arrive at the quiet edge where all questions dissolve, The mystery that drew you in, the paradox of letting go, now stands open before you, softer and clearer than when you began. You've seen how every frantic grasp for certainty only tightens the knot inside. The urge to control, the hunger to analyze, always led you back to the same restless place. But in the final moments, a new truth appeared: that surrender, far from being weakness, is the quiet gate to real strength. Peace isn't hidden on the far side of more answers. It lives in your willingness to trust the unknown. This is the lesson the journey was truly about: not mastering life like a puzzle, but learning to meet each moment unclenched, awake, and alive. The paradox is resolved. What you release, releases you. Here, letting go is no longer loss. It is your beginning. Now gather the threads, every insight, every pause, every breath you allowed yourself to take, as you let the need for control slip quietly away. The journey has revealed not just how surrender brings relief, but how it becomes the fertile ground for a new kind of freedom. In stepping back, you made room for life to move toward you, for clarity to rise on its own, for calm to settle where anxiety once lived. This is the true transformation: integrating the paradox, welcoming both the uncertainty and the peace that follows, and realizing your strength is not in constant striving, but in knowing when to let go. So here is the invitation: carry this paradox forward. Next time tension builds, choose presence over pursuit. Become part of this quiet revolution, an inner movement where surrender is not a retreat, but a return to what matters most. The door is open. Step through. Imagine the night sky unfolding above you, silent and boundless. Each star a reminder that not everything is meant to be mapped. In this stillness, feel the old restlessness ebb away, like wind passing over stone, leaving behind only what's true. You are changed, not by new answers, but by the space you've made for quiet, for trust, for the unknown. Every time you choose to release your grip, you ignite a subtle shift. The world feels lighter, your path more open, the air around you newly alive with possibility. Let these words echo as you go: the paradox of letting go. When you surrender, you do not vanish, you arrive. Carry that freedom into tomorrow. The surrender paradox is yours now, soft, steady, and unbreakable.